Okay, art students, if Mr. Robbins has sent you down to the lab to type your haiku poem into one of the narrower boxes because he's going to display your painting in a frame of some sort and needs your poem to be there as well, but it has to be in a pretty small space, I'm going to go ahead and show you what you need to do. We're going to start by going down to Pages on your dock. We're going to open Pages. The screen that loads is something that you've become familiar with, but we want to go to the very bottom of the left-hand column and we want to click on My Templates. We're going to decide if we need to do the box that's up and down or the one that's horizontal. If your painting is portrait, that means that if it's tall and skinny, if your painting it lays like this is the box you need. If your painting actually lays on the desk like this, then this is the box that you need. I'm going to go ahead and use this one, but the instructions that I give for this one are the same for this one. It's just how you type your poem in. So we're going to go ahead and either double click on this box, or I can click one time and hit my choose button. It opens the template. It depends on how big it is when it loads. I think on your screens it may load at 100%, so if you need to go up a little bit bigger so you can see better, that's okay. You can take it up to 125%. You probably don't need to go much bigger than that. I'm actually going to go down a little bit just so you all can see my screen a little bit better. I'm going to type my poem just like it says right here, and that's what you're going to need to do. So I'm going to go ahead and type it. And when I get to the end of my first line, I'm going to hit return once, and then I want to hit return again to give an extra space in between the lines of my poem so that the reader knows that's my first line, this is my second line. Again, I need a space and then one more, so I have an extra space for my third line. Whoops, got on the wrong keys. Now remember when you're typing in your poem that it's important that if you could either type in capitalize the first letter of the sentence. In this case, if lightning flash were a complete sentence, I could capitalize the next one, or I could leave this one lowercase, but Mr. Robbins wants you to be sure and capitalize the first letter, and then when we add our name, which I want to hit return once and then return again, and I'm going to type my name and be sure and capitalize first and last name. And now I'm done and I'm ready to start working with the text. To work with the text, I'm going to highlight it, and then I'm going to start working right in here where it says font. The first thing I want to do is pick the particular type of font style that I want. Because we have such a narrow space, you may want to stay away from those really heavy letters just because they take up so much space that it might be difficult for it to fit into the box. But really any of the other fonts, as long as they're readable, they would be a good font for you to use. So I'm going to go ahead and pick one. And then I don't really like that one, so I'm going to go pick a different one. I like that one better. Then I want to begin by working with the size. I want my poem to fill the space as much as it can, so I'm going to make my words as big as they can and still remain words. And I'll explain that a little bit further as I go. We're going to click, and I keep making my words bigger. Now notice what happens to the word lightning. It kind of separates. I can fix that as long as it's just one letter. But that's probably about as big as it's going to fit without starting to make some of those words really look weird. So I'm going to go ahead and leave it just like that. But I'm going to show you how to fix it if just one letter or maybe two letters bleed over into the next line. I'm going to click away for a minute so that nothing is highlighted, and then I just want to highlight the word lightning. And what I'm going to do is try and squeeze those letters together a little bit so they'll fit. And you do that right here where this little wheel is. If you hold that down You see character spacing, and that's how much space is between each letter. If I decrease that using the bottom arrow right here beside this 0%, notice that the G popped up next to the word lightning, and now it's all one word. So again, if you need to do that, you're going to use the little wheel right here in the font window, and then decrease it one at a time until the letters pop up. Okay, so I'm done with that. The last thing I want to do is I want to move my poem down so that it's more center. I have a big open space down here, and it's right at the top of my text box here. So I'm going to click in front of the word L in lightning, and I'm going to just bump it down. And I take a couple bumps, and now it looks like it's laying pretty much in the middle of my box. The last thing, or one of the last things I want to do now, is work with this box. And right now my mouse is this funny little shape, but as I get closer to the blue line, it's going to turn into an arrow. When it turns into an arrow, I'm going to click on that blue line. Now I'm working with this white box with blue outline. And I have a choice. There are some styles that I could automatically pick to fill it with, but I don't want to do that. So what I'm going to do is go down here where it says fill, and I'm going to hold this no fill bar down. If I hold that down, it gives me several choices. But the two that you're going to have a choice with this project are either your color fill or your gradient fill. We'll start with color fill. Notice that it immediately picks a blue, and right here is the color wheel that will open up and let me choose. And if I grab it right here with the gray bar, I can slide over and I can pick any color that I want. So notice what happens as I pick colors. Now keep in mind that this is going to be displayed beside your painting, so you're going to want to pick a color that goes along with your painting. So if I pick this green and then realize that my paintings have lots of oranges and yellows, this is of a sunset or something, I might want to rethink that. So I might go back and maybe and then here's where I can darken or lighten that color. But again, because sometimes notice that it didn't change. Sometimes you have to click on it, then go back to the color wheel, and there it goes. So now I'm going to lighten it up, and I decide I'm going to pick something that goes with a sunrise or sunset because that's in my painting. The other choice that you have, let's go ahead and close that color wheel. Let's look at this gradient fill. That lets me fill my box with two colors. Okay, so the default, it automatically puts a couple colors in, but I'm going to go and change those to something that goes along with my sunset. And again, you have a choice here to lighten and darken. I'm going to go ahead and, I know that I have some yellows and some browns in it, so I'm going to go ahead and do a pretty dark shade of yellow. And then my other one is going to be probably a dark shade of brown, but I'm going to try and at least get it in the family first, and then I'm going to move it down until I get a brown that I really like. And I think that's what I like. So that goes along with my sunset, so that's what I'm going to pick. Okay, but again, you can change either color if you need to. Once you get your box filled to the colors that you like it, we need to remove this blue outline. That was just for us to know what shape we were working with. So if we move down from fill, here we see border, and underneath border we see line. If we hold down on line, we can choose no border, and that blue line goes away. Now, the last thing that we need to do is maybe change our font color because it's not displaying real well on these darker colors. I might need to do some lightening of my font. So I'm going to go back and work with my font one more time. So in order to do that, I'm going to click where the words are one time. And notice now I'm in a different box, and I want to highlight that text. So I'm going to click after the last letter one time, and then I'm going to highlight up. And now I'm ready to work with that text. And here's the text color. Again, it's in this font area, and I'm going to go ahead and see what I can do here. And it opened up in solid black, but if I slide this over, notice how it lightens up. And it might be that I could just use a really light shade of gray. I'm going to go ahead and choose that right now, close my window, click away, and see if I like it. It's okay, but I don't think that that necessarily is the best choice either. So I'm going to work with it maybe one more time. So click on my box once, click once after my last letter, highlight up, and let me see what I can pick that might display a little bit better. Maybe a really a darker orange, maybe. I don't know. Sometimes you just have to play with it. And really, I think up here it looks good, but down here, and so possibly I'm going to have to maybe use half of it color and do a little bit lighter on the bottom half. Well, I thought I did it, but try again. Highlight, pick my color, go back, and I'm going to pick light yellow to see if that works. And actually, it looks pretty good. I think what I would really like to do is get my text all one color, and maybe I would work a little bit with this color or this color. I'm going to do that. So I'm going to make this a darker color. So now I'm going to work with my box. So I've got to get my arrow right here. I'm going to go back, and I'm going to change this color to something just a little bit darker. And then I can use a light font all the way through. But again, these are all just things that you can work with. That's why I'm showing them to you. So now I'm ready to go back and change this font to match this. But what I'm going to do is just highlight it all and change it all at one time to one color that I think is going to show up. There you go. I like it. I'm ready. I think I'm ready to print. At this point, you would raise your hand and ask Mrs. Pilcher to come over and check it, make sure it's okay to print, and if she says yes, she'll help you get it to the printer.